throw things over now to Latoya, who will be looking at the objectives, and then we will proceed from there as per the agenda. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Garfield. Good morning, everyone. And thank you very much for being here for this session on digital and social media management. This morning, we have with us a special guest, Mr. Chris Davis from ASTM. Welcome, Chris, and thank you very much for agreeing to be a part of this session and to share your own experiences with us. I'm sure we'll learn a lot this morning.
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Okay. We also have with us the Bureaus of Antigua and Barbuda. Welcome. I know you have a couple people sitting with you as well this morning. Welcome, Antigua. Welcome as well to Barbados, which also has additional people sitting in. Alicia, thank you very much. We have St. Kitts and Nevis, we have Jamaica, we have Guyana, which also said that they would likely have people sitting in this morning. Welcome to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, St. Lucia, Suriname, as well as Belize. Thank you all for being here and a part of this session this morning. Now, one of the things we said we wanted to do last year was to look at the skills of the MIC committee and where possible to upgrade and increase those skills, whether it be pulling some outside resources to teach us a little bit more about this thing called promoting and marketing QI services. And that is one of the reasons ESTM is with us this morning as an international partner and someone that we've been talking to for a little while now, and I'm very glad they agreed to be here this morning. Now, the objective of today, I know there are some bureaus that already have an online presence and are looking to develop or increase their social media presence. There are people who would have been asking questions in terms of how do we use the social media in a positive manner, and those who want to introduce social media, what are the possible do's and don'ts and pitfalls, and how can I basically talk my director into extending beyond just the website into the social media sphere where pretty much all your target markets and potential clients may be. So that essentially is the objective of today, to look at how some of our bureaus and partners have been using their online presence, whether it be websites or social media platforms, to engage with their publics. In a future session, we'll look specifically at strategies for increasing revenue using some of the online facilities that are available and other strategies. And that's a session, Garfield, I know our chair is very excited to have. So the chances are that may be our next session. But today's expected outcomes is that you'll walk away with something that you didn't know before, whether it be how to advertise using Facebook or how to develop your international relationships using social media, or what more can I do with my website to engage people. So that is why we have put together the agenda that you see today. So without further ado, I am going to turn over to our Technology and Infrastructure Working Group Chair, Mr. Kyle Marshall, who will walk us through social media strategies, development and arrangement of your content, and some of the do's and don'ts. I am also joined by one of my colleagues today as well, so we have a lot of guests in, and we welcome all of them. So Kyle, I am going to turn the presenter over to you, and you can take it away.
No problem, no problem. Good morning to all. Can everybody see the screen and hear me clearly?
Yes, I'm seeing the screen. You may need to just increase your volume just a bit.
Okay, is this any better?
Yep.
Yeah, that's better. Thanks.
All right. So this morning the topic is well, I've consolidated it, what is on the agenda, to social media strategies, right? So I'm going to just give a simple guide to a successful social media marketing. We're going to run through establishing smart social media goals. The second topic is audit of your social media presence, increase visibility, develop content strategy, ad creation. I know everybody, quite a few people are very interested in that one in particular. Measuring your progress and how to refine your strategy for continual improvement, right? So let's get right into it. The first thing we need to do is to ensure that our social goals are directly aligned with the goals of the organization, the organization's objectives, right? And I picked out a few terms here on the side of business goals that are, usually brought up in management meetings and that kind of stuff. So we have terms like brand awareness, thought leadership, word of mouth leads, and sales. Now, on the social side, or the side of social media platforms, these business goals have direct links to social goals. So in terms of brand awareness, we can term it as reach with our social goals. In terms of thought leadership, we can see consumption. Word of mouth is shares, retweets, leads is actions, and sales is conversions. So affecting each one of these business goals is a social goal. All right. So when we're coming up with our social media strategy, we want to align our organizational objectives to the goals that we have. We want to align the social goals that we set, make sure that the social goals that we set are directly aligned to the organization's objectives. Okay, so establishing SMART social media goals. SMART is an acronym for, you want to be specific, you want your goals to be as specific as possible. You don't want any vague or broad goals. The simpler, the better. You want them to be measurable, you want them to be attainable, you want them to be relevant, and you want them to have a time frame. Okay, and we have some pro tips here. Avoid goals that are focused on vanity metrics like likes and followers. Now, most of the time when we go to social media, what is most important to us is our likes and our followers, right? And in digital marketing, those are termed vanity metrics because all of these things can actually be paid for. You can pay to get likes, you can pay to get followers, right? And that's not something that you want to put out a post and see that it has a lot of likes and followers, likes, but that may not necessarily mean that people are paying attention and people are getting the message that you're sending out. Okay, so rather you would want to look for things like engagement. As opposed to liking your posts and your content, you would want to see that people are sharing it. There are actually tools that you can use to see how well certain posts are doing. You would want to see that people are sharing your content. You would want to know that people are contacting you based on the content that you put out. You would want to know that people are sharing the content that you put out or spreading it, right? And as mentioned before in the previous slide, align goals with the department and the overall business objectives. So once again, when setting your social media goals, SMART is the way to go. The other side of it is to audit your social presence, right? The first point is to take an inventory of all the profiles representing your company on social media. Now, for most of us, the social media may be a new thing, so we may be the first people setting up those accounts, but sometimes we transition to an organization that have existing social media platforms or that are not being used, and you come in new and you want to start a new one, a fresh one. right? All of these, whether they be dormant or irrelevant or they have been scrapped, all of these need to be taken into account. They need to be taken into consideration, because at the end of the day, even if they are not used, they are still available to the public. Okay, so you either want to disable all the irrelevant or dormant or scrapped accounts, or what you'd want to do is ensure that if you don't disable them, that the ones that you have out there, you can actually account for them, you can monitor them, you know exactly what is going on each and every social media platform that represents the organization, right? And that's one of the pro tips. Search and note all official and unofficial pages representing your company. And that is inclusive of fan pages, rogue employee accounts, poser accounts. So if I have seen this before, where if a particular organization's account is doing well, and somebody wants to capture some of their following, capture some of their base, right? They will structure their page to look exactly like and their content to look exactly like that, so that they can capture the attention of that audience. So I mean, it's not something where you have to go around and look for accounts that mimic yours. However, you just have to be aware of anybody that is putting out your content and trying to grab the attention. If it negatively affects the organization in any way, that's something that has to be taken into consideration as well. All right. The other thing is knowing your audience, right? A lot of evaluation should be done in terms of the people you're trying to reach. And when we get into the ad creation, we'll talk about target audiences and targeting who exactly you want to send the message to, right? So when evaluating your audience, you want to take note of metrics like demography, geography, interests. Find out why content is appealing to that particular demographic. Okay. Some pro tips here. Compare your social footprint to that of similar and more established organizations. So when I first started off putting in my social media strategy for the SLBS, I looked at what the bigger organizations were doing, right, across all media platforms that they use. Some of the more popular ones are ISO, ASTM, and BSI. Okay, and I didn't exactly pull exactly what they were doing, but I saw the way in which they were structuring their content, how they were passing out their message, how they were making it very appealing to the audience, right? Because I've said this before in many mic meetings, that black and white does not capture the attention of anybody. Lots of text does not capture the attention of anybody, right? When we are on our personal social media platforms, when we're scrolling through our news feed, we see a lot of reading, we go to the next post. We see a video, a picture that catches our attention, lots of colors, something interesting. That is when we're more inclined to stop and take in that content. Okay. And yes, so look at what type of content they are creating and sharing, and how often they are sharing that content, what influencers and with which they're interacting. Okay. Excuse me. So that is very important. Knowing how to structure your content so that it is captivating to the eye, whether it be by way of photos or videos, right? You need something catchy, something that gets the attention of the audience. You want to create a schedule for sharing, whether it be well, I personally, the way I do it for the SLBS is that when the content is available. But if I realize that in between our major events, there is no content, I would try to pick something and create something so that the pages or the platforms don't remain, you know, bare. Or when you go through our pages, you don't see, you know, the last post was a month or 2 months ago. I try to keep it as current as possible. Um, some organizations go as far as doing multiple posts per day, right? That, in my opinion, is very time consuming. However, it shows activity, it keeps people, you know, it keeps the attention on the page. So my personal advice, my professional advice is to try and do 2 to 3 posts per week, right? That is across all social media platforms. But then again, if you don't have the content, or you don't have anything to speak on, then I mean, do it as it comes. Okay. Social audit learning. Now, what I've included in this presentation is a bit of a template, right? So that when people hear auditing, they think of, you know, in depth, they think of, you know, very clinical evaluations and whatnot. But for your social media, it doesn't have to be that way. All right. So this is pretty much a template of things that you can look for after you've established your social media platform. You've established your presence, you have posts going out, you have some feedback, or you're evaluating how well your platforms are performing. So the first one says, I will consider consolidating the following accounts to simplify our social presence. Now, that is in the case if you have multiple accounts on the same platform. Okay. The gaps in our social presence based on an audience survey and similar organizations analysis are. So that is one way of getting the information to better structure your social media strategy, is you can actually ask your audience, you know, what is appealing to them, as opposed to doing the analysis yourself, and based on your posts, you analyze the engagement, and you analyze the likes, the followers, the sharing, and all of that. You can put out a simple survey to your clients, ask them what would be appealing to them. Sorry. I'm getting a little notification here. Is everybody still hearing me?
Yes, Kyle, still hearing you.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure. So yes, right. What you can also do apart from the audience survey is just take note of what similar organizations are doing, those who are doing it, who have more experience with the social media strategies. See what they're doing, learn from them. We in the mic, we have tried to foster the sharing of each other's information. That way it remains current, it remains, you know, your content will always be well received. Okay, so if for example Latoya with CROSQ puts out something, she would share it to us, we would in turn share it with our counterparts, with our clients, with our affiliate organizations, you know, and that way the content is widespread. Okay. So key takeaways, learn from similar organizations that I can apply. So you take a look at these organizations that are similar, and you note what it is. Now that's just a little template to help you to improve your strategy. All right, increasing visibility. The first thing I have to say about this is that increasing visibility in growing a base, it is a slow process. It is not something that is going to come overnight. I at the Bureau have been doing it for a little over 4 years, and it is not massive. You won't have millions and millions of followers, subscribers, and what have you. However, you want to ensure that the people that you want to get the message to are receiving it. Okay, so again, create content that is captivating, colorful, interesting, funny, interactive, right? That way, in the previous slide, I mentioned that you can actually do a survey and ask your audience what they are looking for, what is interesting to them, right? Align with organizations with similar objectives. We spoke about that in the previous slide. Share some other content that be relevant to your audience. Align with social media groups that have relevant discussions. And especially on Facebook and LinkedIn, I have been able to actually grow my base quite a bit, because there are a lot of organizations or a lot of group discussions on these two platforms in particular that that we can tap into. So on Facebook, you search for groups that are aligned with anything that your organization is into, right? Standards development in every single sector. That's the way I targeted it. So if, let's say, I know we develop standards for tourism, especially in St. Lucia, I would align myself with as many groups as I can find that speaks on tourism, anything to do with tourism, whether it be restaurants, it be entertainment, it be hotels, it be, that kind of thing. I align myself with a lot of these groups. Okay, I think the SLBS profile has hundreds and hundreds of groups that we subscribe to, and it can be a little overwhelming, but when you put your posts out there, you know that they will be well received, not only locally but internationally, and that is where we get a lot of feedback, right? There are sometimes I shoot out some content, I make sure I share it in all of these groups, and we will get the calls, we will get the emails, we will get the information requests on it, right? So that is this fourth point is a very good way to go. The joining groups, Facebook and LinkedIn has worked best for me. Target social media ads. Be as specific as possible, and with social media ads, especially Facebook ads, because that's the main one. With Facebook ads, less is more, and you will understand why when I get into the ad creation. When developing your content strategy, the first thing to do is establish a reason for the content creation. Okay, so if you're thinking of putting out a post, why are you putting out that post? Are you doing it to promote an event, to notify the public, to share information about the organization? Is there an upcoming training that you want to get people to sign up for, or is it just time for a new post? Right now, helping establishing a reason for the content will actually give you the ideas on how to structure the content. Okay, because you would imagine that an event promotion content is going to be different for something where you say, okay, my platform has been quiet for a couple of weeks and I need to put something out, all right, or public notice, right? So establishing a reason is very important for the content creation. Determine the content type, the mix, and the posting cadence, right? So again, knowing why you're posting the content or the reason you're creating the content will help you determine what type of content, who your target audience is, and how often. The posting cadence speaks to how often you are going to share that post, how often you're going to put it out there. So for example, our the SLBS is having a training on basic food safety that is coming up in the middle of March. Not to plug it in here or anything, but I will be starting the post. In fact, I'm already developing it. And since this is something where we want to get people aware, first of all, aware that we offer that training, and also to sign up for the training, I'm going to be doing as many shares or as many posts of that content as possible before the date. So between now and the middle of March, I'm going to try and flood the different sectors, the hospitality sector, the tourism sector. I'm going to target restaurants and catering services. I'm going to target all of these people because we have a database of clients that we've worked with before, and we're going to make sure that these people are the ones receiving the content, right? And then you determine the platform for distribution. Okay. And again, as I said before, I've popped in a few templates in here, so you can use some of these to develop the content strategy. So you'll determine the type of original content that we will create for this post, the type of content we will share. We will post to the following channels this frequent, as in the platform where it says X channels and X number of times a day, and the different audience that we will target. Okay, we will tailor the content to the people we want to target. So this guide can be used to help develop content, a content strategy. All right, we're getting into the meat. Creating Facebook ads in 4 easy steps. I've tried to narrow it down to 4 easy steps. I mean, it can get very complicated, but I have tried to simplify it as best as I can. So step 1 is designing the ad. Okay, the elements of the ad, you have 4 elements to the ad. You have the destination URL, or this when the audience clicks the ad, you want it to bring them somewhere. Either you bring them to your website, you bring them to a part of your Facebook profile. You have to bring them somewhere, okay? Because the ad is going to be representative of more information. Okay, so is the destination. Then you have the ad title. Okay, you're going to have the body, which is usually 135 characters. I believe now it's a little more. And you have an image, right? So the elements of the ad are very simple. Okay, and the photo over here is going to show you how the ad is basically structured. Okay, pro tips: use social media content rule of thirds. Now, it took me a while to get this down, but a third of the content promotes the business and converts audience. Okay, a third of the content shares ideas and stories from thought leaders, and a third is original brand content. Okay, so in your ad, your original brand content is most probably going to be your image. Okay, because whatever you're advertising, you want as soon as someone sees the ad, they know exactly what is being advertised. Okay, whether it be a product, it be a service, it be it doesn't matter what it is. Looking at the photo is supposed to tell the story. Although you have an ad title, people will quicker see the photo than see your ad title, right? The next part is choosing your target audience, right? Now, there are 4 things to consider. There are 4 targeting opportunities when setting up the ad. You have location, demographics, education or work, likes and interests. Now, when I first started doing Facebook ads, I figured once I can get my ad to reach more people, the more likely it would be a successful ad. But what I've realized after studying the system, I've realized that the more specific you're targeting, the better your ad does. So in this image here, we have broad, clearly defined, and narrow. And broad, the potential reach is 180 million people, whereas the clearly defined is just over 1 million, and the narrow, the potential reach is fewer than 1,000. And I will tell you that if there are 3 ads that follow these 3 settings, the one with the narrow will be the most successful in terms of conversion. Okay, for the broad one, it will push it out to as many people as possible. However, one, it takes a larger budget, okay, to push out to that many people. Secondly, you're not targeting the people. So it's just a general ad that you're putting out there and hope that some people bite. You're not actually targeting who you want to receive the message. So for example, I'll go back to the example of the SLBS and the food safety training. If I just put out an ad with marketing our food safety training, and I send it to everybody, I send it to people in the construction sector, people in the electrical and electrical engineers, you know, I would just send it out to everybody. But people in the construction sector or the electrical engineering sector will not take on that ad because it is not for them. It is for food safety. So what I will do, I will target only people that are aligned with food safety or food handlers, anybody who comes in contact with food in terms of providing food as a product or a service, right? That way, I know that I am sending the right ad to the people that are interested in that type of trading, right? So one, my budget will be less because I'm targeting less people, right? I have to do a little more work in setting up the ad because if you realize the narrow ad has the most information, right? It specifies a location, it specifies age, it specifies gender, it specifies interests, it even specifies things like relationship status, right? But I know that if I push out an ad with all of that information, okay, making my targeting so narrow, I know it is more likely to do better. Although it is reaching less people, out of those 1,000 people, I will get, you know, I'll get a few hundred, okay? But out of those 180 million, I'm pretty sure that hardly anybody will look at it because it's just being broadcasted out there. Okay, the third step is controlling the cost. Now, here are some things to consider when you're setting up the campaign. The ad budget, you have the options of daily or lifetime. Okay, so for example, if I'm setting up an ad for the again, I'm going to go back to the food safety training. If I'm setting up the ad for the food safety training and I know I have a few weeks to do that, right? I know I have a budget of, let's say, as the example shows, 200 US, right? That may be a lot, but I'm just using that as an example. So let's say I have 200 US. I can either decide to spend a few dollars per day, or I can let Facebook put in my target. I will put in my target audience, and I will let Facebook, I will tell them, okay, my lifetime budget, so for the entire couple of weeks, I have a maximum amount of 200 US to spend, okay? And Facebook will be responsible every day for pushing out to those specific people. And you can actually let Facebook know that you don't want the same people receiving the ad every day. So if I want a new audience, it will still be within the target audience, but it will be different people. So example, if Latoya is part of my target audience and I'm running that ad every day for 3 weeks, Latoya will not be getting the ad every day for 3 weeks. Latoya will get it, you know, a few times, so she will see it, but she will not be bombarded with that ad. Okay, it will choose different people within the target audience to target. The next one is the ad schedule. You can have a time specific one or a continuous one. Now, in the case of general promotion, so for example, I have an ad running now for the SLBS, which is a continuous ad. It is just an ad about the general services of the SLBS. So that is just to let people know that the St. Lucia Bureau of Standards exists, and this is what we can do. It leads back to our website. However, for the food safety training that is coming up, I will not have a continuous ad running, for a number of years. It is only a time specific one. So I know that the training is in a few weeks. I will have a start date and an end date for the ad. Okay. The next part is pricing. Under pricing, you have CPM, CPC, and max bid. Right? CPM speaks to paper impressions. Now, impressions speaks of views, how many people viewed the ad, how many people liked or commented on the ad. So that's what impressions speak of. How many people shared, viewed, liked, commented, right? So
well,
for every...
Not meaning to interrupt, but you have about 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, the other one is pay per clicks. That's CPC. People who actually follow the link to so you have an ad, the ad leads back to your website. People who actually click the ad and go to your website, you pay for that. Or you can say, okay, I want to pay a maximum of 21 cents in the example here. And Facebook will switch from clicks and impressions so that your 21 cents is used more efficiently. The next one is to submit. After you've done setting up all of that, you submit and you monitor the performance of the ad. Right? I have an example here. I have an example of a good ad versus a bad ad. Right? Notice the good ad, the picture is clear. Right? It gives clear details as to what you get when you click that ad, or what you get from the business, from Ray's Pizza. Right? Look at the terminology: 2-for-1 deal on takeout pizza. Order come to claim this order. Right? The bad ad: lots of choice of pizza available at Ray's Pizza, menu for all your needs. First of all, that's bad English. It's very vague. You don't exactly know what you're getting. It just tells you Ray's Pizza has options available. Okay. I have a link down here that I'll be sharing the presentation. So I have a link down here that actually brings you to the Facebook advertising guidelines. So in setting up your ad, you can actually look at the guidelines that you should follow in terms of getting yourself a good ad on Facebook. In measuring your progress, there are a number of analytical tools that you can use to measure how well your ads are doing, how well your posts are doing. What I actually use is something called Hootsuite. And I have provided the social media strategy guide, a direct link to the Hootsuite social media guide. That is very, very good. It's very concise. Hootsuite also lets you manage multiple social media platforms at the same time. So for example, if I have a post and I need to post it on LinkedIn, I need to post it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, I can do one post on Hootsuite, and Hootsuite will send it out to all 4 things for me. Right? Pro tips: align your analytics back to your goals. Examine data that measure progress towards reaching your goals. Use the following go-to tools like Hootsuite Analytics. That is a very highly recommended one. Okay. This is another template that lets you know which channels are doing better. So it gives you an idea of what type of content works, what type of content is not doing that well, and how you could go about adjusting, making the adjustment so that your content will do better. Refine your strategy, make it dynamic. Even if your strategy is effective, there is always a need for improvement. Social media is fast-paced, fast-changing, and always new. We need to keep up. So this is another template. I've called it learnings. So we document what works well, what didn't work well, and our goals for the next period or the next quarter, right? So we'll list the goals and the changes based on the first slide, what didn't work well, what changes we will make to the strategy based on the learnings, right? So that is the end of the presentation. I know I got a little quick at the end there, but I am willing to work one-on-one with anybody. If you have any questions, any comments, you can email me, WhatsApp, put it in the group, and I will try as best to assist. So are there any questions or comments?
Okay. Wow.
That was it?
It would seem so.
All right.
Very, very much, Kyle. I am sorry that I had to rush you at the end.
That's okay. That's all right.
I think we'll all agree it was a very, very informative session, and thank you very much for putting that together for us, Kyle.
All right.
Next.
And again, if anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to contact me. I will be sending the presentation to Latoya, so you guys can have it. Make sure you check out the 2 links that I put in there, the Facebook guidelines and the Hootsuite social media strategy guidelines. These 2 are very helpful in helping me start up. So, yeah.
All right. Again, thanks very much, Kyle. Next on our agenda is best practices in engagement. Chris, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. I'm switching presenter now. I'm hoping you don't have to download. Yes, I can see you.
See my screen? Okay, I hope everybody can hear me. I have a very sensitive mic, so even if I put my coffee down, you probably could hear me.
Yeah, we can.
ASTM International, we are 30,000 plus members with over 12,000 standards in place, and I appreciate Kyle recognizing us among such company as ISO. That is appreciated. But I'm here to talk about best practices for engagement, which is intimately related to social media. Kyle made reference to it often, and I'll try to dig in a little deeper as to some strategies for engagement and some ways to think about engagement. I mean, engagement is, it covers a lot of things, from shares and likes to whether or not the impression that was made, and literally the impression that was delivered on somebody's device, whether that impression sticks with them and creates for them some desire to pursue a call to action, or CTA. But without wasting anybody's time, let's move forward if I can, which I can't seem to do for the moment. Hold on. Anybody seeing my screen change? I guess not. There we go. Okay, foundations of social media engagement. This Brian Solis that I took a quote from, he's actually quite well known in social media circles. He founded the social media group.
Chris, your screen has changed. I'm not sure if you shifted, because on our end, we're still seeing the introduction page. Ah, yes, now it's changed.
Okay, and there must be some slow or some delay, so I will try to bridge the gaps with a joke or perhaps a little song and a dance, which probably won't help very much over the phone.
No problem.
But foundations of social media engagement. This line from Brian Solis always struck me, and that is, it's about sociology and psychology more than technology. I know that many people who are listening today are concerned with the technology, what to click, how to pursue an ad, what to do. I'll let you know that Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn, they're all very good with help sections. You'll find what you need in the help section. What you won't find is this understanding that if you don't know your audience, if you don't understand who they are or where they come from or what expectations they have or what particular channels they use, it doesn't matter how good you know the technology. Social media is about building a community. So you pursue that call to action. Think of the organizations that you follow personally. What do they post? It might not be a corollary to your business, but think about why you stop on a particular post and why you blow past another post. It has a lot to do with human nature and with the psychology of what you want to see. So if you can somehow break into that mystery of what your followers want, you're going to be more successful. Here I'm going to try to progress the screen one more time. We'll see if there's a delay. I think what I'm going to do is just go back to and just show the slides individually. I don't know why they're stuck. Okay. Apologize for this. Didn't expect this problem.
Yeah, that's okay.
This is odd and unusual. Usually we move right through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing, and if you can reintroduce sharing again for me. There we go.
Okay. All right. Just give me 1 second. All right. Do you want to send me your presentation then, just quickly?
Let's see. Let's just see whether or not.
Because it's still not switching on our end.
Okay. Are you seeing my actual PowerPoint layout instead of seeing the screen?
No. I think you've stopped sharing now.
Okay. Try sharing with me one more time.
Okay. My apologies, guys. Just give us a second. All right. I see you are still presenter.
Okay. Are you seeing my screen at all?
No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see myself as presenter.
Okay. On my end, you definitely are.
Yeah, there's some glitch inside of GoToMeeting.
Yeah.
Can you send me one more time the sharing?
Okay. I can't on my end because it's telling me you still have it.
Well, I just said, don't trust the technology, trust the psychology. And the psychology of this is everybody's getting quickly very bored that Chris can't share his screen. So you're not seeing my screen at all?
Yeah, no. Just give me 1 second. Let me see if I can try something that might knock you off. Let me switch presenters.
Okay, I see you as the presenter.
Okay, let me go back and see if I can switch you again. Yeah, that works. All right. I've sent it to you now.
All right, anybody seeing my screen?
Not as yet.
Yes. I'm seeing my screen being presented as share. Hold on.
Okay.
How about now?
No, still not yet.
Still not yet.
Okay. Yes, now.
Okay, what I'm going to do is, in case it was PowerPoint that was causing it to shut down, I'm just going to make this window a little bigger, and I'm not going to flip through the slides normally. I'm just going to click on them as we go along. So anyway, to get back to where I was, knowing the sociology and psychology of your audience is a better way to approach any sort of engagement. Now, one thing that is a fact of doing business in this day and age is that you've got to think mobile first, and that is a matter of meeting followers where they live. Studies show now that worldwide mobile devices are used more often than desktop computers. I don't know if that's true in your area of the world. It's definitely true here in the U.S. We have learned that it is even more so true in Africa and the Middle East. So what does it mean to think mobile? Well, when you think mobile, brevity. Where possible, use links out to your website so that more information can be gleaned that way and you don't have to make longer posts. To that end, you might want to use something like a URL shortener. Google has shorteners. Kyle had mentioned Hootsuite. Hootsuite makes something called an Owly. There's a service called Bitly, which you'll see in the middle of the screen there, bit.ly. And the advantage of using these shorteners is they don't take up a lot of room within your tweet or your Facebook post. One thing that we've also learned over on the right-hand side there, a post with a photo will always perform much better than one without. If you have to, use stock photography, use professional shots or pics from your own camera, but it's known that photos boost engagement. There is no doubt about it. So you'll see the image on the phone here. We recently had an expansion customer service hours. I ran a Twitter post, or a tweet, if you will. I ran a tweet that was probably 1.5 times this length. It didn't perform very well. So we chopped it down to just the basics, and we included a photograph of a phone and an earpiece that a customer service rep will use. Why does this help us? When somebody's going through their Twitter feed, they have more of a tendency to stop when there's a photo. It's just human nature. So I encourage you to use photos in your personal or in your business posts. They tend to work. But all this trickery is really not going to save you if you don't have good content. And here it looks like I've got a bit of delay in bringing up the next slide. So bear with me. There we go. The content is key to engagement. I want it to be have a timely nature to it. In other words, you don't want to be posting things about events that are the day before the event. You got to do it well in advance. You want to be consistent. By that I mean, at least have one post a day or one post every other day, but at least maintain consistency that your audience knows, okay, there are regular posts happening here. Because the kiss of death is when you don't post anything for a week or 10 days. Why would somebody continue to follow you? It becomes, you're the stranger that they only occasionally meet. You want to be the friend that's there every day. You want to build that sense of community. A lot of what you're doing, whether you're trying to sell something or not, is you're selling yourself. So it's always a matter of promotion, and it's always a matter of your brand or your organization's pride. So in terms of content, most of the content that we work with news, we work with events, conferences, workshops, anniversaries. Don't overlook anniversaries of some of your relationships with other institutions. Anniversaries of a member. People like to see that human element. We post information about visits or tours, local and abroad, that we make. Again, people love to see smiling faces and pictures and one group meeting with another group. We sometimes write reactions to mentions that other people have posted on social media where they mention ASTM. We even sometimes react to world news. You might find that something happens in the world and you might want to make a post about it. One funny aside, Super Bowl happened on Sunday night, and we had a situation. Nate just walked in.
Hi, I'm on the call.
Nate's on the call.
I'm not sure if the slide is showing.
You're not sure the slide is showing? Are you guys seeing the content is key to engagement?
Not on the 4th slide. We're still stuck on the 3rd slide.
This is not good. You should be seeing, there must be a significant delay in what you guys are seeing. Okay, try to overcome this by making sure we have, okay, so the slide you're seeing is the one with the mobile phone?
Yes.
Frustrating, okay. Did you see any change there?
Still not yet.
Okay. All right, it looks like I might have to wing this without visual support. So what I'll just say is we ran into a situation just recently where the Super Bowl was won by our Philadelphia Eagles. Thank you, long time, long life Eagles fan here. And I had a discussion with Nate that we saw a news posting that an ASTM standard was somehow involved with the grease that they were putting on poles here in the city of Philadelphia to prevent people from climbing poles. Now, not all news is great news. And we started thinking to ourselves, and Nate brought up the fact that, you know, if somebody gets hurt and an ASTM standard is involved and we can't control that news, or we can't use that news to increase the perception of our brand or improve the perception of our brand, maybe we'll stay away from that news. So we tend to work with news that paints ASTM in the best light possible. We also post things about awards that are given away, awards that are received. We do things with contests and giveaways. All these forms of content at your disposal will help you to tell your brand story, but also to make for consistent posts. And again, I apologize that you're not seeing this slide because you've got to trust me, it's a gorgeous slide. Everybody would just be in awe of it. So
if you can send me the presentation, I can still share with everyone.
Yeah, you can share after the fact. So I'll just speak off the cuff here. I got about 5 more minutes if that. The key to writing engaging posts, that's going to be different than the types of content. When you write a post, most important thing, clarity and brevity. Too many words, people are not going, they're just going to turn off. I already mentioned photography. If you're using photography that has people in it doing things like meeting other people or traveling or receiving awards, always put in a good caption. People like to know who's in the picture. Tagging. Tagging is essential across our 3 major channels, which would be Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. You tag using the @ symbol on all of those social media channels. If you go to tag on Facebook and use the @ symbol, you'll see Facebook will automatically populate the post with the organization you're looking for. You just choose. With Twitter, it requires a little bit of investigation, but you can find the handle that you want to tag. And on LinkedIn, you can tag individuals. So if you're speaking about somebody receiving an award or doing something special, you can tag them. We make sure that we link to stuff on our website. That is a call to action, again, a CTA that is going to increase engagement. People are going to click when they're interested when you give them a tease. Finally, you might want to consider using certain content management tools. Kyle had mentioned Hootsuite. Very good tool for seeing the effect that your social media posts have across all channels. He mentioned that you can use it to post things on a schedule. I also recommend a product called Buffer, and I can always talk to someone about that after the fact. I am going to try to change my screen here, and if you don't see it change, then we've definitely lost the connection. Anybody see a screen change?
No, still no.
No.
Okay, then yeah, we must not have a good connection established, and it's funny because we had one before, so I apologize for that. If you can imagine then growing out of content being important to engagement, the next important thing is having the right content for the right channel. You can't write the same way for Facebook that you write for LinkedIn. Well, I'll take that back. You can, but will it be successful? So we have found that Facebook tends to be a community of individuals with common interests. It's really a place that people go for friends and family, and when they follow organizations, they want to get that feeling that they're engaged in some way in a more truly social or communal experience. When we use Twitter, we know that it's very mixed audiences of organizations, individuals, and every possible type of human being on the planet, where they just want information quickly. So we tend to use Twitter knowing we have a mixed audience and getting information out quickly. LinkedIn is the most unusual of the three insofar as cracking the mystery of how to use it. It's by professionals and it's for professionals. So we don't try to get cute on LinkedIn. We will use pictures of people, but we'll be a little bit more professional in that kind of post. We will appeal to, again, people's sense of the communal, but we'll do it in more of a professional manner. We find that we get more success across all these channels when we figure out that there are different strategies for writing for each one of them. What next, if you saw the slide, just imagine it titled Challenges to Digital Engagement. Coming up this year, we're all going to be in the same boat when it comes to finding that on Facebook especially, they've changed their algorithm for how posts are delivered for organizations. Your friends' posts will show up just as often, but your organization posts, if you're following an organization, Facebook is going to bias it so that that is not seen as often. At AST International, we've already seen the amount of organic impressions, and those are organic as opposed to paid. Kyle was talking about paid. I'll speak purely to the organic here. We're going to find there's a decline in impressions. We want to, however, encourage peer-to-peer engagement, people liking and sharing things among each other because they find it interesting. So in the future, we're going to have to investigate, all of us, whether to use more often Facebook groups, Kyle had mentioned that, or different kinds of call to action. We've had call to action, I mentioned before that this links through to a website. We might have call to action that encourages more of maybe a giveaway or a contest, ways to engage the audience because we know they're not going to see our posts as often. On the flip side of that is social media fatigue and too much noise. You start to post too much, you're going to give the audience fatigue. You have approximately 2 seconds to have your post be seen. Imagine that. You're going through your own feed for friends and family and interests and everything. How often do you look at a particular feed before you zero in and say, okay, I'm interested in this one? We're up against a lot of competition. We're up against Aunt Ida posting pictures of the family picnic. And we're up against Coca-Cola giving people a free trip to Europe because there's some new promotion. You've got to make your post stand out, again, by knowing your audience and what they want to see. That oftentimes is going to require playing around and studying what works. Kyle mentioned analytics. You'll see whether or not you've got good impressions. You might have to adjust, vary the copy that you wrote, vary the pictures that you use. And again, I know you're not seeing my screen. I am. So I'm just going to say the title of the next slide is Posts Are Not Enough. We've been talking social media for a while now, and I'm going to tell you it's not all about posting to social media, because outside of social media, you've got everyday content like business cards, posters, newsletters, your email signatures. These things you can place in there links to or print out to your social media channels. I have them on my business card. We put them at posters when we attend conferences, because if you're looking to increase your social media followers, you're not going to get all of them through social media. You're going to get some of them in the most unusual ways, like a business card, like a poster, like an email signature. So just remember as you go through this that posts are not enough. Now I'm going to try something here as my last attempt to share, and that is bring up another tab that actually brings up Twitter. And I'm going to do it as a last ditch effort to see if you can see what I'm seeing. So, anybody seeing my screen at all?
Oh, we're still stuck on 3.
Nope.
Okay, so not seeing my screen. Yeah, I hear Nate saying not seeing my screen. So I'm just going to talk about 2 quick examples. One example was a Facebook ad. We had Kyle telling us the mechanics of placing a Facebook ad, knowing your audience, setting a budget. They were all very useful, great bits of information. I'm going to tell you of something we did that failed, and then I'm going to tell you how we made an adjustment and it succeeded. We had a video of a member whose whole job was testing materials, concrete, metals, and they used machines to bust those things for a living, to break them apart. I posted a Facebook ad that said something to the effect of, Member Spotlight, watch Sean Bird from Tinius Olson teach you about his years as an ASTM member. It was really boring. There was a picture of it, sure, but I didn't realize nobody's going to click on that. We had very few impressions. We changed the ad around to actually say breaking things for a living, and the impressions doubled. We went from 2 shares and a few likes to 44 shares and a dozen likes. The last thing I'll tell you in terms of an example, and again, I know you can't see it, so I encourage you to go on to ASTM's Twitter feed, is we use infographics from time to time, and you've seen them. They're pictorial representations of concepts. This was something that Nate can get credit for. I know he's on the call. But Nate had said, you know, maybe instead of delivering the entire infographic, we should deliver a tease of the infographic that will encourage people to a call to action to click and go get that infographic on our website. So if you do have time later today, and again, I can screenshot the example and send it with my presentation, you will see that when we posted this teaser and said exactly this, what are the 6 types of ASTM International Standards, find out by downloading our new infographic what's in a standards name. Visit, and then I had the bit.ly that I used, the shortened URL, a picture that just showed a pie chart that said there are 6 types of ASTM standards, what are they? And we had tremendous engagement. We had 9 shares, we had 12 likes, and when I went through to the page itself in Google Analytics, I saw that on the particular day that I posted this, we had about 50 or 60 visits from Twitter. That's something that I will tell you to keep in mind if you're using a website and you're sending people to a website. Get yourself a crash course in Google Analytics, because in addition to telling you how many views there are, you can find out where they're coming from. And when you find out that they're coming from Twitter or from Facebook, then you can make the argument that your social media strategy is working, or you start to realize something's not working and you have to make adjustments. I went through that quickly so that I can stay within the time boundaries. I know you couldn't see the screens, so I will give Latoya the presentation. I will give her the examples I talked about, and the final slide, which you are unable to see, has my name and my email address. So I encourage anybody on this call to run ideas by me. If you have a question about the presentation, other than Chris, why couldn't you manage to share your screen when you're supposed to be good with technology? Don't ask me that question. Ask me about things that we have done that were successful, things that we did that were not successful. You can learn as much, if not more, from your failures than your accomplishments. So that's it for me. I'll leave time for questions, but I know we're up against time. Look for the presentation to come through Latoya, and by all means, use my email address to pick my brain or run anything by me.
Thanks so much, Chris. I see ABBS had a question in relation to what you meant about, let me click again. about impressions. Do you now understand based on his additional information, or do you still need some more details about impressions?
Say that one more time.
The Antigua Bureau was asking about impressions. So I'm just wondering if you still have that question, or if the additions to your presentation would have explained efficiently what impressions are.
It wouldn't have gone into detail with impressions, but the answer that I can give is that across the three main channels that we use, you will get analytics reported to you. So within Facebook, you get analytics, Twitter will give you analytics, and so will LinkedIn. Impressions is a good rule of thumb about how successful something is, because it not only shows whether or not your post made the algorithm for the specific channel and was delivered at the right time in the right place where your followers can see it, but it'll also show, an impression will show if somebody paused on that and actually looked at it. So you'll be able to compare impressions. You won't know right off the top of your head, oh, one impression is more important than another, or one another, but you'll see patterns develop. And those patterns can not only extend beyond the post itself, but what time of day you did it, what day of the week you did it. So if you posted something that you thought was brilliant, and I know that we all post things that we believe are brilliant, but you posted it on a Friday afternoon at 4 p.m. and it did very poorly. Well, it did poorly because a lot of people left the office well before 5 p.m. on a Friday. So impressions will help you to understand that. And if you ever need a guide and want to know how to further use impressions on any of the channels, I would be happy in a call or in an email to walk anyone through how to look at those impressions.
Thank you so much, Chris. And I can attest to the fact that both Chris and Nate are very, very helpful. Some of the early questions I had in relation to CROSQ's own social media management, I had posed to Nate and Chris on an earlier call. I think that was early last year or late the year before, when we went through an entire session, and I can say I've seen the results in CROSQ's own engagement with our stakeholders. So please, if any of you have additional questions, feel free to email, and I'll send their contact information as well. Our partners at ASTM have been very, very helpful in that regard. And in relation to the impressions as well, one of the things, once you've set up your social media page, as Chris would have said, you'll see, if you're the manager of your page, there will be occasions where you'll get a notification that says your post is performing 20% higher than your previous post, or this post is doing extremely well on this particular media. So that's also a good idea of, when your content is doing well. And one of the things I've also found is repurposing your content for different, different social media platforms, but that's something I'll deal with. So thank you very much. Are there any other questions for our friends at ASTM? Okay.
Well, thank you, everybody.
Wait.
Thank you as well. I really appreciate it. I know the time difference would have been an issue this morning, but I thank you guys for tuning in so early in your area to be with us for our start. Now, our chair has indicated that he's actually had to step out to a quick meeting. So I am actually going to take his place as the next presenter. So just give me a second to switch. So I'm going to deal a little bit with online media. Sorry, just give me 1 second. So I'm going to deal a little bit with managing some of your relationships online. Now, why is building, or why should we build relationships? Now, from the time I came into quality infrastructure, one of the things that I noted was that it often is a difficult area to explain, and those who've been in it longer have sometimes more than often have a better handle on exactly how you go about explaining what you do, what works and what doesn't. So in recent years, what I've realized is that QA institutions, we need every bit of help that we can. So that is where your partners come in. Talk to people like ESTM, ISO, building those kinds of relationships, especially within the context of our MIC committee. You'll find their communications people, their persons who manage the social media that you can tap into, and you can ask a question when you're stuck. If one of your institutions within the CROSQ network is not able to help, more often than not, there's an international partner who's already dealt with this that you might be able to tap into. And that is why talking to people becomes so important. Don't be afraid to reach out. You see an email for someone and you want to ask a question, more often than not, they respond. They might tell you that you have to give them a little while to get back to you with some information. But I've found reaching out to people, talking to people, asking questions, and don't be afraid to not know something. You don't have to know everything. And don't limit yourself to just your own country situation. Although, yes, you are a national institution and you want your people in country to know about what you do, but if you need to reach outside of your individual countries for some additional help, for some additional advice, it helps and it works. Now, in terms of online publishing, what I have found are communicating information. What I have found is that more often than not, there are financial constraints within our NSBs, and we all know that. Sometimes we have great ideas for a new engagement with the public, whether it be a fair that we want to go to, or a new standard and we want to push it out to the stakeholders that are going to be affected by it the most. We have a training coming up, but often there is that factor that getting that message out to everyone or the stakeholders that need it most is constrained by financials. You have brochures that you want to print, but there is no money to print them. And expenditure is often something that the Bureau say, well, we don't exactly have money for publishing right now. We don't have money for advertising. So what do? What I have found that works for me, and just give me a second, I'm going to switch screens quickly, is platforms such as this. Let me just shift this quickly from the top of my screen. Yes. All right, what I have here is Canva. And Canva is something that I know the BBS, Belize Bureau, also uses. And this will allow you to design your content quite easily. Okay, I've just clicked on the content. That's not the content that I wanted to click on. But this is an example of a platform that I've used in creating a lot of the documents that I put on our various social media. So everything from infographics, like Chris would have spoken about before, you'll see we've created some infographics here on our page. Let me just increase the font a bit so you can get an idea. And these are things that you can do quite easily using Canva. There are different templates that you can choose from, and then you can more or less pull your own content into the spaces provided. And that's an easy way to produce quickly that you can actually upload online. Another platform that I've also been using for online publishing is Issue. And once I've created the publications, I go here to publish. Let me go to CROSQ's page. So you'll see, and you'll see a lot more publications coming up on this in time. But I use this as our platform mainly for our newsletters. And what I've found is that to get our newsletters out to our international partners as well as our regional partners, online publishing is pretty much easier. It saves you the cost of printing. And I know printing for brochures and newsletters, those are often costs that we don't have the money to bear. So when I publish this online, then I can share the links. And this is also another free media. There's a paid aspect that allows your partners to download the issues. But if you do not have that option, you can publish freely and you can share. As you can see here, it gives you the option to share, like, save. So you can send the links for this publication to others by just, sorry, here it is. You can copy the link and you can go into your email or your email servers, such as Survey, such as MailChimp, and you can email your publications from there. As you would have seen here, I would have created, and these publications are ways that I engage our international partners. As I would have said before, reaching out to international partners gives you an idea as well as to who are the people you need to be talking to on the communication, and who are the people that can help you understand your roles, who are the people that can help you upgrade your skills even. And by talking to these people, you get an idea of what has worked for them, what has not worked. And then from there, by trial and error, you can see for your own individual country what works. Because I know something that works in maybe Antigua may not work in Suriname for various cultural reasons. Something that works in Guyana may not work in St. Lucia. Something that works in Jamaica may work in St. Lucia, etc. So you need to talk to each other and find some international agencies as well, with persons like Chris and Nate that you can bounce ideas off of. What do you think about this? If I want to do something like this, what are the things that I need to consider? Would you advise that this is an avenue that I can take? But this is a platform that I've used to engage with some of our international partners. And that is for online publishing. Now, in terms of content, Kyle would have mentioned earlier about knowing what content to put where, and sometimes not having content to update your pages. What I have found, and this is a tip I actually got from ASTM, because when I spoke to Chris and Nate, I was like, but you know, you don't have time every day to be creating content because there's so much more that you have to be doing in your roles as information. You may be an information officer, you may be a librarian, you may be a chemist within the MIC group, and you know that you have other duties to perform, and you can't necessarily sit every day on social media and think, okay, what do I need to put here, and how often do I need to post, and do I even have time to sit down today and post? What I have found and what the guys advised me to do is look at your content. How can you use something that you've put on your website, an editorial that you put on your website, and make it interesting for Twitter? How can I use something on my website and make it into a shorter, sweeter something for Facebook, a Facebook audience of targeted Facebook audience. Where can I put my videos? So what I have found and what works for me is to use a lot of pictures, as Chris would have said, on Twitter. People like to see people. And I find when I post pictures, and for example, there's been a new accreditation of a body within the region, and I post that to Twitter immediately. And if you tag it correctly, and I know we all know what hashtags are, you tag it correctly, immediately some of the international agencies see something that, oh, there's some accreditation news coming out of the Caribbean. International agencies like ISS say, oh, there's something in relation to the development of new standards in the Caribbean. And then they start to post and report your content. I'll go to social media. So you'll find on CROSQ social media, CROSQ social media is not just for CROSQ. This is another way that you can engage with your international partners. And how this works is that you use this content to also populate your pages. So every day you might not have something, or I may not have something that's CROSQ created, but that does not mean there's not information out there that I can share. For example, World Metrology Day is on May 20th. And already international agencies are starting to talk about what's happening with World Metrology Day. So because that's something that's relevant as well for us, I post it. And you'll find when people start to repost your information, you'll get your reach extends, because then international partners will have the thousands of followers who will be talking about your content that you may not have. CROSQ's Twitter page is still very young. As you can see, we have approximately 248 followers, but that's 248 followers up from the 7 that we had when I came on board. So, I mean, it's not, a larger agency might look at this and say, what? You know, but for us, this is a big win, because when people start posting your content and following your content and engaging you on your content, it says they're interested. And that essentially is what you want. People who are interested and wanting to know about what you post, which is, again, is one of the reasons I always say, especially on our international world days, like World Metrology Day, World Accreditation Day, World Standards Day, those are the days that the international agencies are specifically looking for what's coming out of the Caribbean. And I found on those days, when I start posting what is happening in St. Lucia, what is happening in Antigua, what is happening in Belize, when you can bring your content to CROSQ, or you can post on your pages that I can share, that kind of information gets picked up from as far as Japan. And then those are agencies that in the reverse, I can add to our mailing list, and I can start to engage these people because they're interested in content that's coming out of the Caribbean. And you'll find once they get a taste for what you are doing, they will start to follow you, and their followers will start to understand that, hey, there is quality infrastructure being developed in the Caribbean. So when I talk about engaging your international and external stakeholders, even outside of your country, these are the kinds of engagements that I'm talking about. Talking to people, finding out what they're posting, adding videos. Yes, one new follower, yay! I celebrate every single new follower that we get, because I know the information of quality infrastructure is so very specific that sometimes you only get people that are definitely interested in the material to actually be following. And you'll find as well that there are international consultants that will actually start to share your information once they understand the kind of content that you are posting. Yeah, so I've already spoken about MailChimp and YouTube. Now, our YouTube page was an initiative, I think late in 2016, that we started because I realized that we had some videos, but the quality of those videos wasn't necessarily a lot. And I thought one of the ways to wrap, other than the Facebook page and showing pictures, I mean, you can post videos to Facebook as well, but I wanted a dedicated space for CROSQ videos, for the content that we produce, and an easy area that, for example, UR bureaus can go online and find content about us. And I use this a lot for workshops to spread a little information about what has happened for our World Days, to have our officers share in terms of the messages that we want to put out. I've done it for our Caladina workshops in various countries. And one of the things I'm also trying to do is make shorter videos, because when I first started, I realized that a lot of our videos were quite long. So the analytics would say, okay, perhaps you had a viewer that went through the first 4 minutes or the first 5 minutes, or someone that clicked and clicked off. So that told me, okay, I needed to start creating shorter content to more engage people. And I found that our shorter content on both YouTube and then Facebook does a lot better than some of our longer content. So as Chris would have said earlier, you learn a lot more when you make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make some mistakes, because you learn from those mistakes. So yeah. Also, one of the things that I've been using our platforms for as well is to talk to people. You'll find that, for example, Facebook and people responding via Facebook. And I know Facebook scares people because these days social media is used for all kinds of evils. But think of it this way. When people want information these days, the first place they look, other than for a designated website, is Facebook. Do you have a Facebook presence? And what you can do with your Facebook presence is talk to people. What are the challenges they are having in relation to QI services in your country? Are people interested in standards in particular areas? How many of your people in country want accreditation services? What do they know about certification? And these are things that you can use your Facebook to tap people on. Talk to them about, you know, when World Metrology Day comes up, what is metrology? Break it down into layman's terms. And you will find you start to get questions that you thought people knew. Information that you think that people know about your services, you'll find that they really don't have a clue. And Facebook, I've found, is a good way to actually talk to people and to get people to start sharing your information. When I first came, we had about 14 followers on Facebook. And I've found there's content that works better than others. But what I've found is that I can talk to people. Sometimes people message message you privately and ask questions that have absolutely nothing to do with QI. But they thought when they saw quality and standards that this is exactly what your area was. And you can use that as an opportunity to educate people. For example, I had someone from Trinidad asking us about skills certificates. So I had to explain the difference between us and, for example, the CSME unit and the job that they do. but that is someone that I engage several times after on different things. So you'll find that people will ask questions, and it will give you an opportunity to respond to those queries from individuals. And I've also found that this is the platform I usually use for our workshops. I can, if there's an interesting speech that's happening, I can take perhaps 2 minutes or a couple seconds of that speech, and I can put that online, and you'll be amazed at how many people during the workday is actually on Facebook watching content that has to do with the area that they're in. For example, when we were in the Dominican Republic with the launching the energy project, I was surprised at how many people were actually on and viewing and talking to us about some of the facts that were coming out of the Dominican Republic about energy in the region. So this is basically how I've been using our Facebook to talk to people, to engage people, to put new content out there, especially the achievements within our bureaus. As long as I have content from you, I can share it in our space. And I think that is it that I will, yeah. One last thing, don't be afraid to pick up the phone and talk to people. Or if not the telephone, a Skype or some online voice connection that you can actually start to engage people and talk to communications representatives. I know for all of you, you may not be a communications expert within your bureau per se, but because you're on the MIC committee, that pretty much is one of the roles that you're expected to play. So don't be afraid to talk to other communication representatives in other QA agencies, because they have the tricks and the tips and the cakes that can push your engagement to even greater heights. And that's pretty much it for me. I'm hoping Garfield is back so we can.
Yes, I'm back.
The last 10 minutes. So that's pretty much it. Again, you guys know where to find me if you have additional questions or if you need help, whether it be setting up your online presence on social media. And again, Kyle is also there, and I know this gets Kyle's blood flowing when you start to talk about social media and advertising and all those fancy things. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. I mean, that's why we're here as a network within the MIC committee and within the CROSQ. So that's it. I will shut up at this point, and we will go to Garfield, who will lead us through marketing using digital platforms. And I must say, the BSJ has been very good at marketing using everything from their website to their social media. So that's specifically why we wanted Garfield to talk about that. So Garfield, it's over to you. I am going to switch controls. Just give me a second.
All right.
If I can find your name, okay.
I'm there.
All right, it's over to you.
All right, are you seeing? Hello, everybody. Hello, everyone again. You seeing my screen?
Yes, I am.
All right, wonderful. I believe, well, Latoya and all the others have touched on parts of my presentation already. And let me apologize too for not being here at the time. I just had to deal with something quickly. Nevertheless, let's we'll just go ahead, and I wanted to set up a foundation pretty much for why we do what we do here at the Bureau. My topic here is you see marketing using digital platforms. All right, so quickly, I just wanted to go through just a foundation quickly, what it is in terms of marketing, why we do it. It's essentially we want to communicate, or we want to get the process or the information of our goods and services from the concept to the customer. We want to move the information across. Right, so essentially this presentation, I can give it to you later so you can have a closer look at the definitions and again why we do what we do. And then important for us is we look at, before we do anything, we look at or 6 P's of marketing, and we try to address each of them, right? The one that we're focusing on today is that of promotion. That's one of the P's here. There are 6 P's. One of the promotion that we focus on. Promotional mix. This is all forms of communication that you can use to establish meaning for your products or services, as well as a way to influence the buying behavior to the targeted customer. So we want to influence them, want them to think differently, not just buying behavior, but behavior in general. Want them to think differently of the bureau. We want them to get information about what we're presenting. We want them to have a different feeling, as it were, about the BSJ or any bureau. So that's what we do. That art in the promotional mix, and I'm going deeper into what we're about to talk about. The promotional mix. These are the things, the elements that make it up: advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, public relations, and direct marketing. Forgive me, everybody. I should say, I know I'm not giving a course on marketing. I'm just trying to set the foundation for why we do what we do. All right. So the one that we are focusing primarily on is that of advertising here with the blue to the left. All right. So this now, it's the grease that drives the overall promotion. It's the grease. And it is used to make a large potential body of target audience members aware of the promotion, right? And online marketing, digital marketing, it's one of the newer ones. And for one, it provides you with the largest audience. And two, it is the most cost effective. So you will get the best value for money going online. All right, the general forms here are just the foundation: print, radio, television, digital. And on the digital, which what we're focusing on, is website and social media. Why go digital? It provides, as I said some of these before, it provides immediate response. It's inexpensive and easy to start. The other day we started a promotion here. We wanted to highlight the NQA, some of our NQA National Quality Award winners. And we quickly came up with the idea and we wanted to start it. So we had some videos, we cut them here in-house. It was one big video. We cut the video in 4 parts, and we ran 4 separate campaigns easily online. We did it for about 2 weeks, and we got the feedback almost immediately. The promotions are trackable, and it provides the highest return on investment. All right, some statistics that I think we all would be excited about. The Caribbean population as of 2012 was 41.5 million. Of this number, there's 34% of the population that uses the internet. 6.6 million of that 13, more than, well, half thereabout, use Facebook, and that was, the largest number. And which I think is important now, the countries that use social media, the top 5, and I should have ranked them, I'm sorry. The number 1 is Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica, Trinidad, Bahamas, Barbados, and St. Lucia. That was the ranking that was there. So you can see the countries that primarily use social media. It was enlightening for me when I did the research here. So we have to encourage, we have the audience here, 13 million people here in the Caribbean region, and your respective countries. You can go online. I can provide you with the link. You can get the information as to your specific country and the number of persons that use internet there. All right, so a digital strategy, what is it? For us, I remember when I came, I wanted, and I was communicating with the team, we wanted to go fully digital. So we had to define what it is for us and what we want, what we think it is and what we want it to mean for us. And it's a carefully crafted digital advertising strategy that will help to innovate, to measure meaningful results, and to importantly learn from our past mistakes. Because that's what, and online marketing allows you easily, quickly to learn from your past mistakes. You can pull up information for a specific time period, and you can look at a promotion that was run or a campaign, and you can see what are the goods and bads, as it were, that happened throughout the campaign, and you can improve on that. How to develop the strategy? This is simple. We had to do this in-house in order to know where we wanted to go. We had to know what we want, so set the objective, and in the objective, we looked at, we had to nail the mission. What is the mission? It must match the overall mission or the objective of the organization. So if the organization is the time now where we're doing awareness building, then we know that the mission for this particular campaign or for this strategy is awareness building. So we have to structure it around that. Then we set your KPIs. I remember I was listening to Kyle's presentation, and he said you shouldn't set your KPIs really around likes and visitors, etc. I said no, you should set more smart KPIs, and I agree with him 100%. So as a team, look at the KPI, discuss the KPIs, and look at what you want, and you set it accordingly. And they must be smart. Analyze your past, yes. Learn from your mistakes, because that's important. You don't want to make the same mistakes over and over. Remember who you're talking to. This is important, and speak their language. I know for us, persons in the standards world, we tend to use a lot of jargons. We tend to use a lot of complex information that persons outside our doors, a few persons, only understand. One of the things that we do here at the Bureau is, after we get information from the technical areas, that information is sent to marketing. After it is sent to marketing, we write the script from the technical information that is sent. After that, most times we send it out, and we may ask persons externally to review the document to see if they understand the information, because again, we don't want to send something out that they don't understand. So most times, the information that you see posted, it would go through several levels of screening to ensure that the information is clear enough, because what we want is simple language, concise, easy. However, it conveys the message, right? Importantly, to identify, number 4, identify your means and stick to the budget. Stick to the budget. Makes no sense. You want to go elaborate on a 6-month campaign, and you want to go full online. You want to use pay-per-click, search engine optimization. I'll talk about those later. You go through Facebook, you go through everything, and you don't have the means. If your budget can only, accommodate Facebook ads for a week using $2.50 per day, then you go that route. I'm talking that because I heard Kyle discussing that, so I know, it was mentioned before. And then make a plan and don't stick to it. You don't have to stick to it. The plan should be dynamic, and depending on the success or the lack thereof of the campaign, you tailor the plan that was initially done to match the performance of the campaign. So if you need to ramp up a particular area, then you ramp it up in order to ensure that you achieve your objectives. All right, quickly, I mentioned these earlier, search engine optimization. This is where you are pretty much, all right, let me give you. You present information to Google or to search engines in general, that they will use it to pretty much go through your site and ensure that your site is visible, as it were, to persons. So for example, say the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, and we want our site to be visible. We would, at the header of our website, in the tags, they would go ahead and put in specific keywords that we would want. We think that persons will be searching for our site using those keywords. We'll input them in the tags, and also we'll send some of this information to Google and to the other search engines as well, so that when persons type in those keywords, then they can see our website popping up quicker and easier. Some of them is paid, some is not paid. Pay-per-click now, and I picked out most of the ones that we use here at the Bureau, and I'll show you later on what we do. Pay-per-click, this is where you post your ads online. You can use several things. You can use Google ads. We have Jamaica Yellow Pages. I'm sure you have it in other parts of the Caribbean as well. They facilitate this type of advertising. Where you present your ads to them. It's paid, and every time a person clicks on it, you pay for. Every time a person clicks on it, you pay for it. So you post the ad there. However, you won't necessarily pay until after the campaign, after the time period. So you set a time, and you won't pay until the end of that period, because what they do is they measure the number of clicks a person would, or persons would make to the ad, and then those are added. I should let you know as well that you would set a price for the per click. So the lower your price, or the cost that you want is, the lower it is the less likelihood of your ad being displayed, one, and two, the less likelihood of it being displayed, and also the number of times it will be displayed, because the spaces that are there wherever you go, if sometimes you go on Google, you're searching and you see ads popping up all over. Persons have to bid for those ads, and the higher the bid is, the higher your bid is the greater chance of your ad being displayed. So you have all of that to take into consideration. Social media advertising, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, that later on quickly. But importantly, one of the things that we do here is we look at online surveys, and we primarily use SurveyMonkey because, again, it's cheap, it's easy. So what we do, if we have a particular campaign to run and we want to get some information from some of our clients in order to influence the campaign, then we quickly do a survey. And we get feedback from the clients using that. Of course, we may have their contact information from our databases, etc. But then this one here, online surveys, it's important, because what you want to do, you want to run a campaign that is informed and inform the campaign. So, for example, we're putting together a campaign now. It's regarding our laboratories, and what we did, we sent out. We knew we wanted to do something on our laboratories, but we weren't sure. So we did a quick survey asking, which lab are you most aware of here at the Bureau? Just paraphrasing the question. And then we ask, what information would you want to see or would you want to know about the labs? And they put in the information, and we just use we analyze, and from the feedback, we use that to tailor the information for them. Remember too, we did it in times past. We wanted to know, how can we serve you better? And one of the things we learned from them was that they needed additional time to send in the samples, right? So what we did, we had to introduce samples for testing, that is. So we had to introduce a new shift for the microbiology laboratory. And with that, we were able to get more clients, and our turnaround times for our test results went down, and that improved our sales here. So online surveys, very important. E-newsletter, to the tail end of Latoya's presentation, I heard her talking about using Issue. We use that as well. Banner advertising, it's similar to pay-per-clicks. And rich media, this using YouTube and using other videos posted all over the internet, getting the information out. And I'll show you a simple one that we use and that you can use. It's an amateur, quote-unquote, video that is done internally. And you can use this, because what we have found is that while making a post on social media is good, you get more feedback, and you get more interactions if you actually post a video. So the same thing, we want to convey the same message, but we use a video instead. All right, for us, I would have mentioned these. We use website. This is now talking about the BSJ situation. We use website. I'll show you that later. We use social media, and the ones we use are Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We use those primarily. We do a lot of pay-per-click ads, as I would have explained, and one of the process we go through here is they have a partnership with Google, and that's the Jamaica Yellow Pages. Once we send our ads to them, they give us the dimensions of the ads, we send them to them, and then they are the ones that post them online for us. And once persons would search, we give them the keywords as well. So persons who are searching for science-related information, laboratory services, of course, the Bureau of Standards, whatever keywords we decide upon, then we would give those to the company, and then they would post online. So when persons search, these ads would be popping up all over. And once they click on the ad, then it would either take them to our social media page or our website. I mentioned these before. The website. Okay. For us, we redesigned our website. It was launched in October. For us, it acts as the online repository of information for our clients, and importantly, 24 hours a day. So after we close here at 4:30 p.m., then persons can go on and they can get the information about our services and some of the things that we do here at the Bureau. And it also, for us, provides an opportunity to sell our services, and I'll show you this in a few seconds. And the website also provides engaging content. So I did a print screen of our website. Right here is the home page. If you look at are you seeing my cursor? Hello?
Yes, Garfield, seeing.
All right, if you look here at where my cursor is, that's the main menu. What it has information, the general products and services of the Bureau, primarily, Bureau of Standards, Jamaica. So we provide information on standards, we do testing, calibration, training, trade support, and we provide information to our consumers. However, here in the big banner, you see here, we're advertising our online training coming soon. So the website, as I said before, it provides the information, speaks about services, and then it also provides you an opportunity to sell things to the clients. This now is new and exciting for us. This is where we offer e-commerce. And you will see, this is where primarily we're selling our standards. Here we sell the standards. And these images that you're seeing represents the front cover. We have redesigned, for the online purposes, we have redesigned our covers. So the first one, the top left-hand one here where the cursor is, it's Jamaican standard specification for honey. Before it was just, words on a page. What we have done, we have created an artwork that will depict honey, and especially for online purposes, in order to sell the product. And we would have them here so person can go on, use their credit card, regular online, like you're on Amazon shopping, and you can get your standards delivered to wherever you want it to be delivered to. We also sell online courses, so you can purchase courses here and you can do them, in our training facility, or as you see coming soon, we're providing online training services. So we are able to sell online here at the Bureau. All right, these are now the interactive videos I was talking to you about. What we do, we try to keep it to 1 minute, because we have found, and I heard Latoya speaking about this, we have found that the longer the videos, the less interactions we get. So we don't want that. We don't want a very high strike rate. And a strike rate is persons coming on and leaving quickly. We want person to stay and to look at the video, stay above 30 seconds and look. So we make our videos a little less than 1 minute so that they can, look at it and get the same information that we will communicate in an image. We try to capture it in a video quickly. So I'll just play the first few seconds here. So you can see, I don't know if you're hearing it, but what it does, are you hearing it? I'm not sure.
No, no audio.
But that's fine. So what it does, but it just he's one of our staff members. He's the head of the, as you see there, the chemistry department, and he's talking about the services that we do. This video is done internally, quickly, and it shows, you know, viewers what is done here. So it will develop confidence in what we do, and because it's science, it's good optics as well. Well, the equipment and the bottles and the things, so persons can say, oh yes, it's a high-tech lab. So it's all about capturing, selling our package to our clients, right? I'm not sure what is wrong. We use as well issue, and we have 3 publications. We publish a newsletter every quarter, and we use issue here to disseminate to our clients and persons who are interested. It provides us here it's really good for those who haven't you tried it out. I would recommend that you do, even if you don't have a full newsletter, but it's just one page, which can be full. If you have multiple pages, you don't have to have multiple pages. You can have one page, and it will work just the same. So this is one of the things that we do, and we realize the impact that it has had, for us, gets the information out. If I have enough time here, I'll show you quickly. Let me show you quickly how it works for us. Let me just go quickly. No, wrong place. All right, dive into statistics. If you look, I can click on this newsletter, the last one, and you see here quickly it shows how many reads, the average time spent. But what it shows as well, colleagues, is, are you seeing my screen, everybody?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or what it shows you the regions or the countries from which our readers, the readers of the newsletter come. So you can see it shows you the reach. We have a reach North America, we have a reach all the way here. I don't even know where this is, Japan. We have a reach to India, Turkey, in Africa, etc. So it shows you easily and quickly how far and how widespread the newsletter is. So, this tool is really good. You can push, if you wish, you can push content that is country or region specific. And again, it can give the information for a particular time period. So you don't have to worry about, being overwhelmed.
And if I might add, Garfield, that's one of the good things as well about sharing each other's content, because this edition, CROSQ would have also shared through our email, our MailChimp. And what we would have done is send that to some of our stakeholders as far as Australia, Japan, United Kingdom. So that is one of the good things about publishing online, because it gives you the ease of sharing content.
Exactly. What we do though, we have paid. We paid for subscription. I'm not sure what the term is for this one, but we did a paid version. And what it does for our readers, that allows them to download the newsletter. We found that works for us, because a lot of persons want to download it. So we found that works. So again, look at your budget. Our budget can accommodate that. I'm not sure if the budget in your respective bureaus can accommodate that, but you can look at that as well. Oh, and I'm going to recap here. So just to recap, develop a plan. The plan must be clear. Be mindful of your means, and that's financial and manpower. And I want to point out, here at the Bureau, we have a marketing department, and we are now getting somebody who is completely dedicated to online, so that, because we have seen the importance of online, and we want to put more resources into that area. So we're getting somebody for that. So, if you're if you can't accommodate something of that robustness, then work within your means, right? Post very clear messages, clear, and ensure that the grammar is on point. If your grammar is poor, then you lose credibility, you lose, followers, you lose just people going onto your page. Ensure that it is clear and it is correct in terms of grammar. Be consistent. For us, we try to post daily. Again, we have persons dedicated, to posting. If you can only post twice weekly, 3 times weekly, then work with what you can work with. But we have found that if we post daily, then we get good engagement. But that's us. Be relevant. Try not to only have stale information on there. So don't when you go on this works hand in hand with being consistent. Don't when you go on the page, the last thing you see is some information from the last 6 months. That won't work at all. Be relevant and ensure that information that you're posting as well is information for now, right? And I always say just have fun online with information. If you can have fun with it, with clear message, with concise message, then your readers will as well. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Garfield. Are there any questions from the audience? Okay. Oh, so that's a good thing, I'm supposing. All right. One of the things I wanted to add to what Garfield said as well. You can also, Facebook also allows you to schedule your postings. So if you know you're not going to be able to get back to the Facebook page, you can easily schedule something to be posted at, say, 4 o'clock in the evening or midday, or perhaps even the next day. So you can.
Or the next week.
Yeah, or next week. It allows you to schedule your posting so that even though you're not there, your site is still taking over and there's content there. So thank you very much, Garfield, for that information on marketing. And that pretty much, guys, brings us to the end of today's discussion. Thank you all for being here. And I must say, I did not realize, and I should have mentioned that one of our directors also joined us in the latter part of some of the presentations. Mrs. Rodriguez from Antigua and Barbuda Bureau of Standards, thank you very much for joining with us. As I would have mentioned before, we plan to have a lot more of these sessions this year. And you're free to open them up to your bureaus. There will also be some content that might be relevant as well for some of the QA institutions that you work with. So feel free to share the links with those persons that you think might be able to benefit based on the agenda. I'm going to try, I know the agenda for this one should have been out on Friday, but was only out yesterday. I'm sorry that there was just too much happening that I was dealing with at the moment, but I'm going to try to get the agenda out at least a couple days before so you can go through and you can determine on your end who are the other persons that you can invite. Our chair would have mentioned to me privately that he thinks that it would be worthwhile for us to do a presentation on strategies for marketing. Correct, Garfield?
Yes, yes.
Right. So I'm thinking, I am trying to see if we can add as well some international partners for that one that can share some of what works for them that we might be able to borrow from. One of the things I want these sessions to do, other than just talking to us, is to show us tips and tricks to be able to better do what we do. Whether it is that your bureau wants to increase sales, increase visibility, all the areas within the marketing, the information, the communication, the knowledge management, the education strategies. We will definitely be dealing with education strategies sometime this year. I know as well there were some people who would have been interested in design, digital, for example, putting together those infographics, putting together perhaps a publication, how to lay out some of the information in particular in relation to that. So I want to say that you'll be hearing a lot more from the MIC committee this year. There will be some letters coming out to your directors this week in relation to the training we want to do, the strategizing we want to do for the energy portfolios. I'm hoping to get those letters out today or tomorrow. So look out for those. I will notify you as usual when the letters have been sent so that you can then follow up with your directors in relation to whatever your involvement in those meetings will be. But thank you guys for being here, and you are very, very welcome. I am very happy that this session went as well as it did. Thank you very much, Chris. You were, although the presentation did not work, the information was still very valuable. I want to thank Kyle as well. Kyle was able to sit down with me and strategize on exactly how we went about organizing this session. And we ended up almost having too much information for the time period that we wanted. We are about 5 minutes short of our cutoff time, so I think we managed it well today. I will try to put together all the presentations and send everyone before the end of today, at latest tomorrow. So presenters, please remember to email me your presentation so I can share with everyone. And feel free to as well, Mike, to share your information with those that you would have invited or those that are sitting in on your sessions. Again, for those who might want to, start looking and strategizing about setting up your social media presence, we are here to help. Just touch base. We can discuss and see what's the best media for you, what's the best strategies to use, what you can do about creating your content, where you can look to link or tweet or share other content that might be relevant to you. Yeah, all that good stuff. So thank you to everyone who was here from all the bureaus. I am very, very happy with the turnout today. It's times better than I thought initially, given that we had such a short period to get everybody in to send out the links. But thank you all very much, and listen out and look out for the next session once we get that going. But thank you very much. And have a great day and great.
Before you go, guys. Yeah. Just one thing. If Latoya alluded to it, if areas are having challenges in terms of coming up with content, coming up with ideas, etc., you can touch base with some of the other bureaus. For example, you can always contact us here to help. You can always contact us to help, and I'm not for help. And I'm not sure if the others, are feeling the same way. But I would encourage, if an organization or if a bureau contact you, then you can or should provide as much help as possible. But I'm putting it out there for the record. If you need help, feel free to contact us here at the bureau, and we will help you.
Yeah. The same thing goes for here at the Secretariat, and as I mentioned, I know Kyle is always open to assisting at the technology end as well as at the advertising end in any way that he can help. So again, thank you all very much, and please enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks again, everybody. Bye.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye, Chris. Thanks a lot.